Okay.
I thought you were gonna poke your head.
Do you want to get in on this?
Nah, I'm good.
I'm pretty comfortable with it because, you know, I'm not a YouTube sensation.
So,
Like, no one's going to be watching these videos except for you guys. Okay.
no, you have to be like, leave a like, subscribe, hit that little bell. Have a nice day.
Let's see. Okay. I have one more potato and then I'm done eating. Okay. You have to eat all the potatoes, you know? You have to prioritize those over the eggs.
Yeah.
Because they're better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really like eggs. I used to not like them. I'm better
I
about
like
it
eggs.
now. But
I'm good with eggs. But not as much as potatoes.
I know, exactly.
Potatoes
It's
can
like,
be like a dessert.
yeah.
I want
I
a
agree.
potato diet. Just a potato diet.
Is that person really fat?
Probably.
Yeah. I'm down.
It's like all starch.
Yeah.
Has anybody read For Whom the Bell Tolls by Ernest Hemingway?
I've heard of it.
I mean,
yeah,
I've
I've
never
heard of
read
it.
it.
I don't
Oh.
think it.
I was going to reference it, but I would have to explain most of the plot.
Half an hour later, you get it?
Oh. Which I would actually much rather talk about than Matt. That's one of my favorite books. It's amazing.
We should talk about it.
Nice. Nice. I feel very valued. Okay. And I got a thermos for Christmas.
Yay! It's really cool. I like the sparkles.
Thanks.
It's got
It was
like a
clearance at Target for
fun
$5.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
I know. I bought it for myself.
That's awesome.
Merry Christmas, me. Okay.
I love buying Christmas presents for me. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna spend money on myself.
Or like
Okay.
a couple weeks after Christmas.
So,
So that's all sale.
This is 6-6, number 61. Out of that
666, guys. Can't do this.
glass is poured into molds to make paperweights. Each mold is a rectangular prism whose height is 3 inches greater than the length of each side. 3 inches greater. Where does it talk about that? Hang on. Oh, that's for 60. Okay. I thought I was trying to, the picture, I thought that was 61. And I
Oh,
was like,
so
wait,
did I.
no, that
That's
doesn't
why
make
I
any
was
sense.
confused.
Okay, so molten glass poured in mold to make paperweights. It's a rectangular prism. Whose height is 3 inches greater than the length of each side of the square base. Okay, redraw the picture. No, that looks kind of like a square. Alright, so let's call that X. Right? Because that's, and we know that this is also X because it said it's a square base. And this is X plus 3. Everybody following? Okay. So, if we want the volume, because we know we're going to be talking about volume since it tells us machine pours 20 cubic inches of liquid. So that's the volume. How do we find the volume of this?
Multiply them together.
Yeah. Multiply everything together, right? So we'll get x squared times x plus 3, which becomes x cubed plus 3x squared equals the volume. Okay. What are the dimensions of the mold? So, our function is plus 3x squared.
That's the function? That's the function, guys. Phone.
My phone's ringing.
I feel like a great destiny is calling. Like, guys. Yeah.
It's Disneyland. We want
Yeah, or
like
Disney.
8 times. Let's do that. Get a bunch of different missions.
Don't tempt me.
You guys are
Oh.
so cool.
In fact,
Oh
you were
my
talking about
God.
watching Star Wars, but now you're talking about Disneyland.
Sorry.
Damn.
Shut up.
Okay.
Yeah, we should do that. We should just take one class and just watch Star Wars.
No.
That'd be too long.
Which one,
Boring.
though?
Well,
Can we
you
watch
know, 2.5 hours.
I'll be honest. My calculus class last week, we
Watched
ate
it.
Chipotle, we watched Hot Rod,
Oh.
and they brought in desserts, and then we left. We did
Sounds
no
lovely.
math.
Last week?
Our last class.
Oh, that's dumb.
And
Favoritism.
Well, calculus is pretty cool. I'll just be real. So,
Well,
yeah.
let's see. When is? Don't we have like a review week?
Can we just scratch
Yeah.
that out?
Wait. Oh, wait. Never mind. Wait. So we have a chapter review, and then we have a review, and then we have the semester 1 review and final. So I feel like one of those weeks we could pick. Or
I
one of
just
those
wanna go on a
days. It's
field
not even a
trip.
week.
It depends on how fast we get through chapter 6.
Yeah.
Because we're a little bit
Yeah.
behind on chapter 6.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have gotten through a little bit farther. Okay.
Oh.
So,
Eh.
how do you find the zeros of this? Because we're solving for x, right?
It's 0 goes into 1 and 3 or not.
Well, let's try this.
It's just 0. Oh, then you just solve, right? You
Well, then x
Put
would
them-
have to be -3 or 0, which won't work. So let's do this. X cubed plus 3x squared equals 20.
Oh, so you're just putting in random things.
Not
No.
random. It tells us that the volume is 20.
Oh yeah.
Now we can get it all to one side. Just actually, let's erase this because we don't want it to be 0. We want it to be 20. Okay. I have a pinched nerve in my shoulder blade region, so I'm doing this, that's why. Okay. So
Yeah.
If we're using P over Q, do you guys remember P over Q?
Yes.
I did not.
Kind of.
So
Or I tried.
if there
It's-
are rational zeros to this function, they will be found in the list of all of the factors of P over all of the factors of Q, which is the leading coefficient here. Does that make sense?
So it's plus or minus 1, 2, 4, 5, and 10.
And 20.
And 20.
20.
I always forget. I always forget.
Plus or minus 2, plus or minus 4, plus or minus 5, plus or minus 10, and plus or minus 20. Now, it's also over Q. We need to not forget about that. But since Q is just 1 in this case, that won't actually affect any of these values. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Are you concerned about your itch or concerned about what I'm talking about?
Mhm.
Do you have a concerned expression?
Oh no, I was just my back was trying to fall.
Oh,
Wait.
make sure.
Oh, here it is.
Okay.
Found it.
So that's a way that you can graph it and try to see
That's what I did for all.
Good.
Okay.
So graphing will
Okay.
help you understand where to start, right? So I'm just gonna think in my mind, all right, I'm gonna just go with the old-fashioned method of testing these roots. But I know that x cubed plus 3x squared has to be equal to 20, right? So I know that I shouldn't even bother looking at 1 because 1 plus 3 is not 20. Does that make sense? Is everybody following where I'm getting my thoughts?
My brain.
So let me try 2. 8 plus 4. Hey, that's 20. So I think it's going to be 2. So let me try that. 8 plus 3 times 4 minus 20. Just testing to see if that equals 0. Well, f of 2, this is 12, order of operations. 20 minus 20 equals 0. So 2 is a root.
Yay.
Yay! Ideally, I should test every root.
Or you can just look and see it across the x-axis.
Yeah, you can do that.
Just making sure I did all the homework right.
Okay.
That would have been really bad. Okay.
So we know that our dimensions are 2, 2, and 5. Because 5 is 2 plus 3.
Wait, 2, 2, and 5?
Yes, because going back to our original model,
Ah.
the dimensions of the square base were x by x,
Oh.
so that's 2 by 2, and the height and the length of it
Was 5. Okay.
Zero.
Any other questions about the homeworks?
Not significant enough to go over.
Well, I have to go home and finish this whole thing. So.
Well, you
That's
can
fine.
definitely take advantage of asking me now. That's
Oh, yes,
totally
I did.
fine.
I feel like
I
we
think
should go over
I'll
the new
figure it
stuff first.
Okay.
And yeah.
What are we doing today?
6, 7.
Okay.
And then
Oh, tomorrow's Tuesday.
That's a good thing. Tuesdays are good days.
you are just so blunt about not digging this class.
No, Tuesdays are just like a nice, relaxing day for me because I do lots of my
For
homework
you.
like on Thursday because I have less homework on Tuesday and more homework on Thursday and Friday.
See how Tuesdays are surrounded by my class? So that's where I got that from.
Oh.
Because you were highlighting. Tuesdays are awesome.
No.
Monday, that's not math.
Tuesdays are better days at home than Thursdays and Fridays.
Oh, okay, there we go. Left out Mondays and Wednesdays entirely just to be safe.
Well, those are school days.
Yes. Okay.
I get to see my old Spanish teacher tomorrow.
Yay. Oh, I need to send Christmas cards to all my professors still. See, I'm worse than you.
See?
Yeah.
There's not even a card in there.
At least you did Christmas cards.
I didn't, actually. That's why.
Oh, we did. We just didn't.
Nope,
it's
I
small.
just didn't. I didn't really care. With the stuff going on with my husband, I had Christmas cards, and then I was like, nah,
What? Nah.
not feeling it. Not
Nah.
really. That's not my priority today. Okay, so the fundamental theorem of algebra.
Fundamental.
Pretty
There's
important.
fun
That's great.
It's
Fun, isn't
no.
it? I'm gonna write that
Stop. Go home.
there.
Oh, and there's a 6.9. Joy.
What? Wait, 6 point.
I
thought
Six
Joey
point
was
nine is all word problems.
Oh, that's great.
Like all, like just
Okay,
completely
6.9.
word problems.
Wait, so what are
Fundamental.
Can I just ask, like,
Yeah.
what is the plan for today? Are we doing 6.7, 8, and 9?
I am going to start with
Okay.
6.7, see how you guys do, and we're gonna move as quickly as we can.
Okay.
If you need, oh, I thought you were dabbing. You need to slow
would
it
never.
down and not do 6.8 or 6.9 today. That's okay.
Okay,
We will do those on Wednesday.
got it.
We just need to get through chapter 6 this week because next week there's no school on Monday. And
Yeah,
then,
it's weird.
Well, it's Martin Luther King Day, I think.
Oh,
I
Just
don't
like
care about that. Let's just get it
Oh,
over with.
Wednesday too.
I know, it's
No.
kind of like, okay, like it's like we
Wednesday.
can observe the day, we don't have to, like...
And we have
class,
that
okay.
break in like February or something.
We do.
Yeah, for President's Day.
Yeah, it's like a full
So
week.
random.
Stupid. Just
Anyway.
keep us in school.
Look at this girl. This is awesome.
I don't like dragging
Yeah.
things on.
Yeah. It's true.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Is it just like adding on to what we already know? Or is it
Aren't we
Fundamental
getting
theorem
our
of algebra.
final in like 3
no,
weeks?
it's a new concept.
Yes.
I don't want to think about
And how many
that.
lessons we have to get through before that?
We have
Chapter
like
6.
we
Oh,
have
just
3
chapter
weeks
6?
of review.
Oh,
though. Like
yeah,
one
we
week
have a
chapter
lot of
6
review.
So we have like some time
like,
to
a overall
get lots of
review.
review.
So the
Yeah.
final is 1 through 6?
I want
Math
you guys
is
to do
easy
well
to
in the
study
final.
for though.
We're like a week
Because
out.
it's not like memorizing all these raw facts that are gonna fry your brain. It's like a little bit more manageable. You know.
Good. I just hear my other classes think that their finals are going to fry their brains.
Like calculus.
These are
No,
homeschoolers,
that,
so
that one's going to be a breeze.
What?
That one's nothing. And their final for the whole year, we're going to build the Death Star out of Legos.
Oh man.
It's
Pretty
like,
hard.
How
Get
big?
into calculus.
How big?
The Death Star.
Yeah, like
it's big.
oh, you're
Well,
gonna
we're
like
gonna
build
buy
a
the
really big
kit.
one. Oh, you're
Buy
just
the
buying the
kit.
kit. I thought you were like
No, it's got like
getting a bunch
charter
of random
for it.
Legos and
thousands
That
of
would be
pieces.
very nice.
Yeah.
yeah, it's giant.
Yeah. We would do that if we were studying something like architecture.
Yeah.
But we just want to be able to calculate, like, using integration, the volume of the sphere and stuff like that. So,
My little sister wants to build the Taj Mahal, and I keep telling her no.
Wow.
But she's like, I'm gonna save up my money and buy it. And I'm like, you're dumb.
That's
Don't do that."
cool. That's cool because I'm moving into like my own apartment, so thinking about like decor. I went to IKEA.
Taj
the other day.
Mahal.
Yeah.
I do have
Actually,
like a
no.
white theme going on
Oh.
Yeah.
with my furniture and stuff, and I love Legos. And I'll be the only
You
one
should
there,
get,
so I
like,
can just do
Lego
whatever I want.
You should get
It's
Lego
true.
Decorations.
Lego creations,
Decorations.
decorations.
I know
For your-
someone who, they had like in their house, it would be just like tons of like those type of like architectural Lego sets that they just like decorate their house with.
You
That's
got the
cool.
Death
And it
Star
looks really
hanging from the
cool.
ceiling.
Oh,
Like, once you guys
like
finish the
disco
final,
ball,
You
like
could take
Yeah,
it.
like a disco
yeah.
You have inspired her.
ball. Whoa.
That would be really cool.
I accidentally just got a gigantic TV.
Like, who knew?
Accidentally.
It's so big. My whole apartment is 800 square feet, which is
It
like
takes up an entire room.
that's 20 feet by 40 feet. That's like not very
Wow.
big whatsoever. So, and that's all the rooms added together. And I think the patio too. So, I accidentally got a massive TV for this little thing. I didn't mean to. I honestly was just like, 55 inches doesn't sound that big.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, that's what I was thinking.
My dad did that, and my mom like
Didn't realize
yelled
how
at
big
him.
it was.
He was like, "Can you still keep it?" She was like, "No, but we still have it. It's like
Good.
almost 70 inches." Mom's
Yeah.
pissed.
That's
My
big.
TV is like
So
bigger
big.
than yours, Tori.
What?
And it's got my TV is like bigger than yours. And it's got like these panels with like speakers on them. And I'm like,
Oh
Dad,
my.
why did you buy this? Like our house is
What?
tiny. We don't need this.
Okay. So, fundamental theorem of algebra.
Okay.
This isn't going to be that bad because I already knew the fundamental theorem of algebra when we started class, and so I've been kind of dropping hints about it the whole time.
Oh, but I mean, I'm completely oblivious, so it didn't do anything.
The fundamental theorem of algebra states that if you have a polynomial, there are exactly n number of roots.
That makes sense.
Which I've been, dropping hints about all since we started with polynomials. So if it's f of x equals x squared, how many roots are there?
How many? Wait, say it again.
If f of x equals x squared, how many roots are there?
2.
2 roots. If f of x equals 3x squared plus x to the 6th plus 5x cubed, how many roots are there?
6.
Nice job. I tried to trick you on purpose. I tried. 6 roots.
Yay.
Do you guys know the band The Roots? They play on Jimmy Fallon's show.
No.
I don't really watch Jimmy Fallon.
Me either.
He's so funny though.
I like see random like YouTube clips.
Wait, I can't remember if it was him or Jimmy Kimmel, but I watched like celebrities
I know, I
read
get 'em
mean
all the time.
tweets. I was like, oh my
I
goodness.
don't know which one that is
I
either.
think it was Jimmy Kimmel. I forgot.
That sounds a little bit too mean for Jimmy Fallon. He's pretty nice.
He laughs at like everything. It's kind of annoying.
Oh, he used to laugh when he was on Saturday Night Live, like in every skit. He didn't. He just kept on laughing and wasn't saying character.
He'll laugh at things that like aren't even meant to be funny. I'm like,
Is that what you think of me? Because I do that.
no.
You just laugh for excessive periods of time over us being really stressed.
Oh yeah, I do that.
Yeah.
See, I tell people that I laugh at my students and they don't get it. They think I'm like kidding. It's hard. I'm really like. It's fun. You guys should all try and aspire to be teachers because look how much fun this is.
For the teacher.
Yeah, see, that's the
Yay.
point.
That's
You gotta teach spoiled children. No, thank you.
Did you just call yourself spoiled?
Yeah. I'm very
My
spoiled.
sister is gonna teach a manners class. I'm like, good luck. You know
Teach
those
a what
kids.
class?
A manners class.
Oh.
I'm like, good luck. You know those kids aren't in a manners class for a reason.
See, my life goal is to teach grad school because I'll be teaching people who are studying something incredibly specific and is completely in line with everything I care about with academics. I mean, obviously there's God, but with academics, and they will have already been to school for like 15 years before they get to that point. So there's no like, oh, I have to go to class. It's like class is the best. I'm so excited to talk about everything I think with the teacher / professor. So, see,
true.
I'm so excited about that. They'll be like my friends. They'll really just be like hanging out with friends every day, except I'm their master.
That's more fun, isn't it?
Okay. You know, like a Emperor Darth Vader relationship. Same
Okay.
interests. I could kill him at any time. Just kidding. Just kidding. Darth lived. Well, longer. Yay. My sister got my paperless post.
Yay.
Yay. Okay. Paperless post. Have you heard of paperless post? It's a website where you like buy coins, and then all the little cards and stuff cost a certain number of coins, and you personalize it. Like it comes in a little envelope, so that it's all paperless. So I sent her a card that said, "You're my cup of tea."
That's cute.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, this is just a continuation. That's pretty much it. So,
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, that's not bad, right? Look, it's 1.5 pages of material. So, the idea behind the fundamental theorem of algebra, why that's relevant here, is that you know exactly how many roots are possible. And that's what you're looking for. Bill. Good. So, yay! Yay! Okay, so when you're given any polynomial, it doesn't really matter. Now you know how to find everything. So you know exactly how many roots there are going to be through the fundamental theorem of algebra. You know exactly how to start looking. You know how to factor if it's factorable. You know how to recognize that. You know how to find the list of all the possible rational zeros. You know how to factor if there are imaginary solutions. You know how to use synthetic division and long division to break polynomials down into lesser degrees and their factors so that you know how to do everything that there is to do with a polynomial. That's not true. Not everything there is to do. You haven't learned a lot. But
I had doubt. I was like, lots of doubt.
You don't even know. Calculus is the best.
All of
say.
I'm not taking calculus, so.
Why? Are you going to college?
Yeah, I'm taking college at home.
You're not going to college in person?
I do not
Do you just like really like home?
No, if I get it done, if I don't go to college, then I can get it done by the time I go to high school. I'll have my bachelor's degree by the time I'm 18.
Well, what are you majoring in?
I want to go into like marketing and stuff like that.
You want to go into marketing and you don't want to take calculus?
Nope. Not taking calculus.
Are you sure that's possible?
Mm-hmm. My mom's got me a whole schedule out.
Okay. Because normally, if you do anything in the business college, you have to have business calculus, which is much harder than regular calculus.
My mom's a tiger parent. She scares
Because
me.
business is all like
She's
numbers.
a tiger parent.
What's a tiger parent?
You never heard of that?
You know,
Tiger
where
mom?
it's like,
No.
It's like Asian mom.
like you got an A-, go do some push-ups or something. I don't know. She's just not
Like,
very
A-
nice.
my love for
What's
you.
the scale? Like, have you heard
No.
of that thing where it's like the grading scale?
Yeah.
Where A is acceptable, B is...
I don't remember.
Oh, what is
C
it?
is like. Then F is like, go find another family.
Go find a new home.
Find another family.
Yeah. Something like that. I don't
so
remember.
great.
It's funny. But
Yeah.
It's not funny at the same time because it's like, that's unreasonable.
Very
It's like, oh,
But, you know. Okay. So, I'm going to leave up the fun.
Just in case we forgot.
We're going to put the fun in the fundamental theorem of algebra. I've also been watching a lot of Vikings. That's like what I pretty much did over
Good
the
for
break.
you.
I just binge watched Vikings because those are my people. I'm descended from the Vikings. So, yeah. Today.
Wait, so it's a show? Sorry.
Yes, it's a show on the History Channel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, they would brutally rape, maul, and pillage and murder. Well, everybody.
Fun.
Greatly.
Family members,
Oh my.
monks.
Monks? Those poor monks.
Yeah, today we're gonna watch a documentary in medieval history that shows like the cloven skulls of the monks.
Wow.
Oh.
That show the Vikings just ran in the church from behind and just literally hacked their skulls in pieces
Isn't
while they
that
were
like a
kneeling on
7th
the
grade
ground.
class?
Yeah,
Oh.
and it opens up with like in the textbook it says things like, "Lord, please deliver us from the Northmen." So I brought my fur and my
Oh, nice.
mace and my sword, and I'm just gonna run around the room. Ah! Pray for deliverance
Oh my
from
god.
me! I'm so excited. Okay. Okay.
God, I miss being a
So-
7th grader.
Here we go. Like example 1 on page 366. So the equation x cubed plus 3x squared plus 16x plus 48 has 3 solutions. First of all, do you find this reasonable that it has 3 solutions?
Yes.
And why is that?
Because the highest n is 3.
Very good.
Yeah,
Yes.
that thing.
The degree is 3. It's a cubic function. Okay. So, it tells us what the solutions are. -3, 4i,
Oh, I don't like those eyes.
and -4i.
They're confusing.
They're kind of annoying.
Yeah. They're just messy.
That's it. That's the example. There's no work.
Yeah, it's just like it gives you the
what are we-
answer.
oh.
Forget it. We're going to find them. Okay.
Okay.
Wait, I have a question real quick. Okay,
Yes.
so the degree or whatever, like x to the 3, so that means that it'll have 3 solutions. If it's like x to the 6, it'll have 6 solutions.
Exactly.
Okay. Really? Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, those solutions can include imaginary.
Okay, so it's like encompassing all.
Yes.
Solutions. Got it.
No, remember the P over Q only has to do with rational real roots. So those, no I in that list, right?
Okay.
And
That
no
makes sense.
radicals in that list because they
Yeah.
have to be rational numbers. But you can easily
include
find roots. Like you could use the quadratic formula if you have a quadratic. There are lots of roots. They all exist. They're just complex.
Okay.
So, first thing I'm going to do, I recognize I have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. So I'm going to try and solve this the easiest way and see if I can factor it. And factoring with 4 terms, any 4-term polynomial, the only way to factor is to factor by grouping. So I'm going to try splitting it right here. Taking out my GCF of this binomial, which is going to be x squared. And I get x plus 3. Is everybody following so far? I got this. I don't want to lose anybody at any step. Okay. Are you doing your nails? Is that what you...
Oh no.
It's just weird.
Looks
Everybody's
down.
got like a bunch of paper and stuff, and
I can try writing. I tried doing it in English.
no,
and
that's
it's like
okay.
looked
I
like a
don't want
bunch
you to
of
hurt
chicken
yourself.
scratch.
Chicken scratch.
And then factoring out a 16 from here, I get x plus 3. This makes sense.
Yep.
To everybody.
Mm-hmm. So then you do x squared plus 16 here.
Tori and Jake did not say yes.
Yes.
I'm just making sure. Okay. So
Then
Okay.
it'll be x plus 4, x plus 4, x plus 3.
because x squared plus 16 is not factorable. Because if we set it equal to 0, you would get x squared equals negative 16. How is that possible?
You could do the I thing.
You can do the I thing.
Yay!
Oh, though it is possible. It's just
It's not
Technically
factorable.
not.
It's, well, it
Oh,
is
really?
factorable as this.
x plus 4, x new. Really?
Yes.
Oh, maybe I can.
But I mean, these aren't real numbers. These are imaginary.
My
So
mind is suspiciously blue.
then
I don't know.
the square root of x squared is just x, and over here you're going to have plus or minus, and then the square root of 16 is 4, and the square root of negative 1 is I.
Hi.
Hi.
We have no fear.
I have shame and tact, though. Okay, so we set this equal to 0.
I'm sorry.
We just pulled out this
too
one
good to not.
and used the
But
zero
those are
product
the
property to
examples.
solve for it. And now we're going to solve using the zero product property for this other one.
Okay.
And we get
Okay.
that x equals -3. So there are 3 possible
Okay.
solutions, and we just proved them, plus or minus 4i and -3, which they told us from the beginning anyway, so woohoo!
Yay.
Does this make sense?
She.
I'm kind of confused. So you can't do the I
I have no regrets.
No, you can't. Up
Never.
until chapter 6, you haven't been able to go any further when you get, like, right here, looking for solutions.
Really? I feel
But
like
now
we
you
have.
can.
So that can be an
Ah,
that can be an
X
answer
plus
for
4.
this.
Yes.
Okay.
So usually the answers only ask you, or up until this point, the questions have asked for things like, what are the real roots? You may have just skipped over the word real in your mind because you didn't have to worry about what happens if they're not real. But now you do. Now all of the
Now
solutions.
everything could be fake, guys.
It's all.
It's all a lie.
The good news is,
Okay.
It's a problem inside of a problem inside
I'm
of
surprised
a
they don't-
problem.
Wait, but doesn't
Math
x squared
section.
plus 16 factor out to x plus 4 and x minus 4?
x squared minus 16 does.
Oh.
Because that's a difference in
Oh,
squares.
oh. You're right. Oh. That's why I was confused. I'm pretty sure.
That was really lame. Don't ever do that again.
This is weird.
No promises.
Cool.
There's a piece of information that there's a theorem they're not telling you, and they really should have.
You're trying to
They're
hide
withholding
this
information.
I'm disappointed in myself.
Like, we just got get really aggressive.
But you're like
We're
5
done
times
telling us to guys.
Oh.
Man, okay, I'm gonna tell it to you because they should have. Okay, so there are 2 theorems that they don't mention, and they're both called the conjugate root theorem.
Okay.
Okay.
They're both called.
Yes. I mean, I'll show you how they're different from each other. Okay.
What?
Is that something famous? Or are you just making it up as you go?
No, it was a tune that I was in the song schooling group where they did songs for everything. So that was the tune for the preamble for the,
The
Constitution. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Back when I wanted tattoos, which was before I was walking with the Lord, I really wanted to get the preamble to the Constitution tattooed on me. I think it's so cool. I still think
That'd
it's
be
really
very
cool.
long. Well, I guess it's not too late, but still, that's like a
Okay,
substantial amount of
script.
words to put. Like,
agreed.
like
That's a different
all
person.
over.
Okay, so
I just want
conjugate
like a
root
star
theorem.
right there.
It's a
It.
star.
It's a star.
Oh, I spelled that wrong.
Did I spell
Well,
it right?
no, I wrote over it, so it's fine.
Conjugate. It's such a weird word. I don't like that word.
You can also pronounce it
Conjugate.
conjugate. Like
Conjugate. I like that
this
better.
verb.
It's just 3 words combined. Conjugate.
Okay.
Wow, you're a genius.
Okay.
Con
So
isn't.
That's
well,
called grouping
there are
right
2
there.
of these.
abbreviation of.
There's
Wow.
Oh, okay, so
Okay.
those are the 2.
Does anybody remember what a conjugate is?
Nope.
Nope.
Because I've used that word a bunch of times this year.
You're
Let me
gonna
get
say it, and I'm gonna
Yes,
go, oh
you have.
yeah.
Let me get out my points.
Oh boy. I haven't used my
Conjugate.
brain in like a month.
Conjugate.
Except for when I did the
It's
homework.
something you do
5
math.
points. What is the definition of a conjugate?
Oh,
Wait.
The
Oh,
full
I
definition.
all my notes are
The definition where we would understand enough about what a conjugate is for me to say that's acceptable.
right when you say it, I'm gonna go, oh yeah.
Can you give us hints like you have about the
Each hint takes
fundamental
off a
theory?
point.
It.
Oh.
Ooh.
So it's
Okay.
like if we have 5, you get a hint. That time you can only get 4.
Okay.
Let's start at like 50?
Yeah. Sure, Sam.
Okay, I'll give you a hint.
Okay.
A conjugate has something to do with things in pairs.
Man,
Oof.
now all I can think of is like
I like
conjugate the
nouns.
verb. You don't remember?
Oh, Samantha's using her brain.
Oh, we can
Oh,
look.
Are you
wait,
allowed
what?
Yeah, okay. I didn't give any rules.
True. No.
There's the dictionary.
You mean the
Probably.
index? That might be
The
helpful.
dictionary.
Well, there's
Here's
a.
the dictionary.
There's like. Was that in my science
Said that
book? I
some-
feel like there's.
Where's the
Where's the dictionary? Yeah.
Uh,
I'll just take it back.
Oh, that's smart. Okay.
Do they even have a glossary? Oh, that's the answers. I'm such an idiot. So dumb. What am I doing with my life? Okay.
It's not here.
Do you have a phone yet, Jake?
Yeah, I have it.
You can Google it.
Left mine in the car. Like an idiot.
Wow, we
I
are
thought it was like no phone,
not
no book.
smart.
That was just all brains.
All brain.
Well, I mean, I'm all brainy.
That's in my psychology
But-
book. I'm dumb.
And joined
What am I doing?
together, especially in pairs. Yeah, that's what you said.
But mathematical conjugates, what does it mean in that?
I don't
Justin
support
probably
Google.
knows.
Just kidding.
Conjugate is formed by changing the sign between two terms in a binomial.
Did not get any of that.
Could she get like 1 point so she used her phone?
No, she gets 5. That was the deal.
Oh, no, you gave us one hint, so that's 4. That's 4.
Well, I decided to give you a freebie. I just didn't say it out loud.
Oh,
Aw.
yay!
5 points.
See, I thought it was
Do I
like,
get a point for looking at my book?
I don't even use my points. Like, what are they?
trying? Okay.
Well,
I
you
feel
know,
bad
you can
using
use
my
points.
points.
You can use
Fine.
your points. I don't care.
Oh yeah, I need to. Can we like look at our grades and see where we're at?
I will
I'm not
definitely
sure.
be able to do that for you on Wednesday.
Okay, because I have points. I'm
I
just
just
not
feel
sure
like the
where
points
to
are
put
almost
them.
too good to be true. So, like, I don't want to use them.
Well,
Like,
thank you.
I
Because
don't know.
I made them up. None of my teachers did that.
Yay.
Just something I was like, man, I wish my teachers had done this. Is that a Japanese eraser?
Yeah, look at how cute it is. My brother, he works at Ocean Institute, so he gets like tons of stuff like that. Like random from birthday parties. And stuff.
Okay, so a conjugate is a pair where the only difference is that the sign is changed. That's why,
Oh,
just then, if we had the root 4i, we also had the root negative 4i.
look at how cute. Sorry,
Is that a
So-
whale shark?
yes.
Oh,
It's adorable. And look at how detailed.
my husband's posed in front of the whale shark tank and walking out.
Aww.
I love whale sharks. Like so.
Hey!
Like look at his mouth. It's like.
What?
I thought we already put
This
them
is
in.
so cute. I shall get you one. Do you
I
want one?
know that now.
My brother has like. I think he has a blue one.
Just kind of.
Another pink one too. Cute. He
My sister
matches.
brought some of my furniture last night, and I started falling when we were carrying it out.
I got nothing better to do.
Okay, back to this.
And I got nothing better to do.
So, and if you think about this, it's totally logical because you have to have I times I somewhere in there, and why would that be? So you don't have polynomials that have complex numbers in them. If it has a complex number in them, it's not a polynomial anymore. So when multiplying all the roots together, you have to have I times I because that becomes -1, and that's a real number. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
If you only had one of these, then it wouldn't be a polynomial anymore. Good?
Okay.
So the radical ones are the same thing. So if you have rad 3 as a root, you also have negative rad 3. These have to come in pairs. This is super helpful for you when you're using the fundamental theorem of algebra, because say you're looking at a cubic, right? And you found 2 roots. You have found 2, okay, so it's x cubed, blah, 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 blah. You have found like the number 2 and rad 5. You don't have to do any more math because you know the other one has to be this.
Oh.
Does that make sense? Because it's a cubic, so there are 3 roots. So if you see this, you automatically know this. 1, 2, 3, done. that make sense?
Kind of.
Okay.
It's a lot simpler than I thought it would be. It's a lot simpler.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Okay. I think that makes sense.
This is pretty fundamental. You're definitely going to use this a lot in pre-calculus. I'm really surprised the book doesn't have that, actually, and I want you guys to know this to be prepared for pre-calculus. So, this is helpful to you if the question says, like, find all the roots. Because, I mean,
Maybe if you're
hypothetically,
then
you
you're gonna
only
have to
ever have to find half.
Okay.
In, like, the best case scenario, I mean, it's very rare that you'll have, like, say they have this. X squared plus 4. What are the roots? Well,
1, 2, and 4.
Okay.
now, it's interesting that you brought up 1, 2, and 4 because that's P over Q, right? Plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, and plus or minus 4. So the rational root theorem is the P over Q thing. That states if there are rational zeros, they will be in this list. 2y is not here. How is this possible? Because this is not a rational number.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because if there are rational roots, they'll for sure be in this list. Okay? There aren't in this case. So do we expect to find them in the list? No.
Okay.
So like when you're, so like say you have to plug these in to like figure out which one gets to 0,
Mm-hmm.
and then none of them do, then you just look at the graph and then you're like, oh, it's 2i. And
Well, you would want to use algebra to solve a different way.
okay.
Because then you would know they have to be complex.
Mhm.
And you can't see complex roots on a graph.
Okay.
Because you're looking at a graph of the real number plane. This is not a real number.
Wait, so how do you figure out that it's 2i?
Because I square rooted both sides.
Oh.
Is this, everybody's okay?
So if you do all these and none of them add up to 0, then you just like make everything equal to 0, or make the equation equal to 0, and then solve.
I mean, you can.
Like here it works.
That's the
but-
goal from the very beginning.
Yeah.
But it's not always solvable. You will not be presented with in this class roots or polynomials that you cannot solve.
Okay.
Does that make sense? They exist. I mean, they're probably more plentiful than solvable ones.
Yeah.
But you won't be faced with that. That's what
Okay.
calculus is for.
Yay. Okay.
Calculus is awesome, I'm telling you. Okay. So. Woohoo. Let's have. Your final's coming up, so I want to start giving away more points. Because I dig that idea.
So when we do the
not
oh wait,
just
never
this
mind.
class,
Actually,
it's
we're
all
not
my
there
other
yet.
And I think I'm going to write your final versus use my little program.
Is the chapter review gonna be like the test? The thing that we do?
Yeah, we do the chapter review every chapter.
Yeah, but is it gonna be like the test? Like, will it have the same stuff?
Well, for the regular chapter tests, I use that software stuff, so... 'cause
Oh,
it's-
okay. So it's like not.
Yeah, it only can
Okay.
pull from the topics within the book, and it
Okay.
only... It's the same material as the book, because it's the exact same book. It's just the ancient CD-ROM that came out at that time that generates tests out of this. But for
Okay.
your final, because I want that to be comprehensive, I'm just going to write it for you.
Okay, cool.
Show
Awesome.
off my equation editor skills in Word.
Yay.
That's right, you won't be seeing any of this on your test, because I know how to make it look like this. What?
Yay.
I wish you could do that in text messages, though.
Yeah. Well, no, you can.
You can use subscripts and superscripts.
Well, actually, I don't know.
I think that's just on
Didn't Justin do that?
I feel like you can.
He did it in one of the group chats. And I was like, what the heck?
What?
Okay.
How
I
would
know,
he do that in a
continue,
group
and
chat?
I'll-
That's
I
so
know.
lame.
No, he was like doing a bunch of stuff. He's like, hey, look at all this stuff I can do on my keyboard. He did that. And then he had like
Yeah, like this. Like x to the third. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're talking about?
I can't do that.
You just like okay. So you hold
I have
down,
an
you
apple.
hold down a three,
Stupid.
and then you can do like 3/4. So
Wait, what?
you just hold it down.
I'm gonna try
Next
texting.
one. Yeah. You got wait. You guys haven't seen it. So like if you have 5,
Well, I have
You
an
wanna make
iPhone, so
5
maybe it
eighths.
won't work.
or like if you do an x.
It doesn't work.
Aw, apple sucks.
Maybe like
Yeah.
x to the third.
Apple is non-mathematical.
I don't know. It's
I can't do that.
Samsung
My weird-
Japanese.
droid.
Mhm.
thing.
Throwing it out there.
I can't do that.
Yeah. No, it's super nice.
Even though
Wait,
one
text
is-
me x cubed and see if it comes through as x
Okay.
cubed.
All right.
Okay, who wants to find all the roots of this?
Okay. I just texted
I'll
you.
give you points.
All the way.
All the
Oh.
roots.
How many roots? All the
I'm like
roots.
3.
How many?
Up to 5.
There are
Eh.
5. Mm-hmm. Gotta find all 5.
Wait, would you can't use
Tell you what, I'll give you
the
2 points for every
grouping.
root that you find.
I will. But I'm forgetting right now. how to do everything.
Wait, what would you use to solve that? I'm so confused.
You have any method that we've done in chapter 6.
There's so many. I need to like.
The whole point of
write
chapter
them all
6
down
is
at
to
some
understand how to solve when you're
Oh,
given something that's not
no,
just a
sorry, I
quadratic.
just realized. There's no x to the 3. That's just lovely.
Anybody want to try to find even 1?
I'm writing it down right now. But I
I'm so
don't know what I'm gonna do.
confused.
What's
so
the
dumb.
first thing that you know how to do?
Factor would
Find
but
the-
that's not practical. I'm not doing that.
Well, you can't
I'm
even.
Not
doing
today.
There are 5 terms, so this is not factorable.
Okay.
6
What else do you know how to do?
plus or minus 1, 2, that thing,
Yeah,
Right.
that thing.
4, 5, 6, and then you can. I guess I'll just.
Does anybody want to try that on the board? Points.
Can I just do it here?
Hmm.
It's a little bit easier.
Now you gotta do it on the board so everybody can see.
I know how to do the first part, but then after that, I just graph it. So, like, is that okay?
Try. No graphing right now.
No graphing.
Okay. Can you give me hints then on which one to do? Because there's 8 options.
You can do it.
Oh.
Remember, you
So,
get, ooh, I like it better when you stand up. It's longer.
I
and
know,
like a
right?
wide little like.
fashion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did you get it? I want one.
American Eagle.
Oh.
Yeah. So we have plus or minus 1, 2, 3, and 6.
So you have to do the
So-
whole thing? Ugh.
Yeah.
That
How do
sounds
you guess them?
terrible. Then you plug them into the
I'm
thermojigger.
so bad at guessing. Let me
Wait.
tell you.
How do you test them?
Do you have to
Today,
plug in
next
every
day,
single
next
one?
week,
Or you
next
synthetic
week,
division?
next week.
I'm gonna use synthetic
But there are
division.
8 numbers up there. How many total possible roots are there?
-2.
5.
Exactly.
Ah.
So
Oh, so like all of them.
It did come through as x
It
cubed.
did?
Yes.
That's a lot. I mean, yeah.
whatever you rip my life. Okay, well I'm just gonna do it this way.
So.
Two.
Okay. you
8.
guys okay over there? Oh
What?
my.
I thought it was Hank.
Okay, this
It's not Hank.
is big. What's 24,
It's
26?
I don't know. Like,
That's weird. That's more
148?
people.
No, 144.
And
I feel like this is too big.
she has more German.
Well, then
Should I
maybe you
test
should
it
stop
again?
and try the
can I
different.
try? Can I stop?
Yeah.
Mhm. So you could go play with your foot.
I don't, wait, let me think about
I wouldn't. Okay.
this. Sorry, too late. Oh,
Okay.
I see what you're saying. Oh well. Okay. So should I try 1?
Don't give
forget
it
your
to her.
placeholder.
Gonna
Thank you.
stalk me.
Actually, you should probably retry 6.
Oh man.
Aw man.
Hit positive 8.
When are you coming?
Negative 6.
Oh, you said 6:45.
Okay.
Just 6.
So should I try positive or negative?
6.
Mm.
Yes.
It's better to stay up.
Let's do.
I think this is right.
I guess.
Are you talking about math?
Not at the second.
Not
So-
ever.
You don't want points?
No, I do.
Oh, I see what I did wrong. Wait, no.
Actually, I was talking about math because I was discovering how when I need to go to bed to wake up at 6 in the
That's
morning.
no.
So I
There
was
you
doing
go.
the calculations of how many hours
Oh
I need
my.
of sleep to actually function.
Just go to sleep at 9 and call it a day.
Go to sleep at 10.
I can't go to sleep that
I
early.
like.
Just
Then
get
I
on the
regularly
roll
go to
first.
sleep at 8 and 9:30.
Get on the roll first.
Yeah, pretty much.
Honestly, it's amazing.
I never have energy
Try
to
it.
stay up late, so.
This is not going to be it. I feel like I need to finish it. Anyway. Okay, no, that's not good. So let's try.
What am I doing? I'm so confused. Oh wait, no, that'd be positive 8. Okay.
Are you really confused about the concept, or you get the concept and the work is just
I get it. It's just
Challenging.
tedious.
okay?
Can you do one on the board?
Well, I
So I
could
could
see
see
you
your-
want to
She
give
could do
myself
like
any
100
points.
on it.
No, I mean like once this is all over.
Yeah, for sure.
Do a step by step.
Yes.
Wait,
48.
Yes, thank you.
I can tell you right now it's going to be way too big.
Oh man, why did you tell me to do the 6s?
Well, I'm discovering
Those are
as you're
some
going that it's too big.
crazy shorts.
Okay,
Just making sure. Jeans.
trying 3. Let's do
You want to try it on the board? Get points.
let me figure this out.
Tell you
and
what,
see
You get a
how I-
point for trying and 2 points if you get it.
Okay.
It's like, wait, these are jeans. Like,
Don't forget that's a negative one.
1,
Yeah.
It's 8 plus negative 9.
Oh. Thank you.
3.
You're welcome. So far Samantha's up to 3 points because she's tried 3 routes.
Oh really?
Dang.
Yeah.
Yay.
good job.
I've tried a ton.
Not on the board.
Dang.
You could get up and
Okay.
try right next to her. There's lots of room.
What's negative 3 times 15? Negative 45?
Mm-hmm.
What's negative 45 plus 8?
Socks are running out.
Negative 37. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Negative 37 times 3. This is not going to be it.
No, it isn't.
That was really big. I'm not gonna have any room. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, I write huge. Okay, take up so much space.
Don't forget your placeholder.
0.
Oh no! No. Okay.
Yeah, teenagers screams of despair so loud.
Okay.
That didn't
It's
work.
fine. I'm fine. I'm
It's
not
fine, I'm
crying. You're
Other way
crying.
around.
Really? No.
'Cause
Oh yeah, third stuff. Okay.
Wait, which one are you trying?
I'm
no,
a
you're
dumb
gonna
butt.
be because it's the other ones. Okay.
No, stop. No.
Don't forget to let me see how many you're trying so I can give you the
One.
right number of
Oh,
points.
I've tried 2 already.
1. Oh,
So
okay.
this is your 4th one?
I think so. I don't know. I'm not even.
If I do that and then I do that, I get.
Oh, I got it. It's negative 2.
Excellent. So what's your polynomial after
Five.
negative 2?
Hey. Wait. I always forget after this part. I'm like, wait, what did I just do with my life? Okay.
Same.
So,
That's me
Wait.
all day, every day.
so, what am I supposed to do now? I mean, you could just plug it in.
You're 3 for trying and you're 2 for getting a root.
Yay! Thank you.
That's random ticket.
Negative 6. Okay, so
Hey.
so negative 2
Okay.
and 1. So those are just your answers, basically, right?
So far, what's the polynomial that you have left after you take out negative 2 as a root?
Wait, you can just do Wait, can you?
How do you find the polynomial?
Was it? Oh, so there's 5 answers. So 2, 1, and I already tried that.
The answer for your synthetic division, 1, negative 4, 8, negative 8, 3. What is that?
Which part? Which one? Negative? Oh, this. Oh, this. Wait, this is
Very good.
Oh man, I forgot about this part.
I feel like I did this wrong.
Plus 8x squared.
Oh, wait. Yeah, no, yeah. Oh, plus.
And then minus
Oh, that's-
8x.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
And now I have to do the whole thing over again.
Not you, right? I would
No, is that
take out a
that's
1.
how
You're going to
supposed
want to divide out a 1 because you know that's a root. But you won't know what the polynomial you have left is after you divide out that 1 unless you use synthetic division.
So you just keep on using synthetic division.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then what are these?
So you've already divided out in x minus, or x
Yeah,
plus
Divide it
2.
out -2 and a 1.
You haven't divided out a 1 yet. She has.
Yeah.
But see how her polynomial is completely different?
Oh, I
That's
see.
because that's the polynomial that's left if you divide by a different root.
Gotcha.
So you have to do it as a combined effort.
What?
So
how do you do that?
So far you found 1 root, you found 2.
Okay.
Good job. Okay, so right now you already know x minus 1 is a root. Does this make sense?
Oh, okay.
Because 1 factors out evenly and you get 0. And we're using synthetic division, which means the sign is flipped. So x minus 1 is a root. So this can be rewritten as x minus 1 times x to the 4th minus x to the 3rd minus x squared plus 7 minus 6. But then that answer, she divided out x plus 2 by dividing out -2. So she's got it down to x minus 1 times x plus 2 times x cubed, because this was a 4th, x cubed minus 4x squared. Oh wait, you did too many. I think you did too many. Oh, okay. I'm going to erase some of your work, but not because it's not good.
I'm so confused.
It's because it wasn't necessary.
Okay.
Do this. Using this.
Oh, duh. Okay. Cool.
You're going to be building on top of it. Does that make sense? Like if you're trying to find all the factors of 16.
Shouldn't
if
this
you
be? This
divide,
pen is really.
yeah, that's not my pen. I don't know whose it is.
Shouldn't this be x plus 2 because
Yes,
pens are nice? Thank you. And it's x.
Jacobs.
Oh, yeah. You're so welcome.
So it's the same concept as if you're trying to factor down 16. If you divide out 2, you get 8. But you don't divide out like another 2 from another 16 again. You start with 8 and you keep
Ew.
breaking it down.
Sorry.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, very
8.
okay.
Okay.
Times -2, 3. What? Huh? Huh? Who? Who? Okay. So that with blah is -65. I like how you guys are just watching us struggle.
-16.
Just so then whatever the next one is, I would what? Huh? Who? Who? Okay, that's not gonna be it. Wait, is this? Did I do this wrong? Wait, where's the eraser? Excuse? What? Excuse. Wait, what are you doing? I don't know. Okay, alright. I'm doing what you're doing, except not good. Okay, I'm a little confused. Just a little. Oh, so it needs to be negative. Wait, let me see. What part are you at right now? Wait, I just did -2 and I got the what is the answer? No, it's not who? I don't know what you're doing. Because this is 0. Because she said to
No.
Okay, so
But she said
this is another one of these that you have to make. See, so like, okay. Yes. So, but what? The 0 shouldn't be here. This is a completely different. Oh. So you cut it off here. That is the part that you're supposed to make into a new equation. Oh. So I'm dumb. So like, make it into another one of these. Yeah, I could just. It just gets shorter and shorter. So like, it starts out really long, and then once you solve for 0, then take out the 0, obviously. Well, I'm an idiot. Okay. Here we go. Okay. You got it. No, that's not it either. So this is 1, right? This, yeah.
Give me a stare.
Sol frustrado. Frustrado. That's not a word. Is it? I feel like it's not. Frustrado. I think it's Spanish for frustrated. I doubt it. I'm very sorry, Jordan. Wow. Oh my gosh. Oh, this one's out of ink.
You grabbed the breezy shorts.
All
around.
Wait. Wait, I think. It's wrong. Oh wait, no, you know what? I can just hold up. I'm not doing that. I'm not.
Hold up.
I ain't going back to that. Hold on.
I'm not about that life. No. 5.
Wow, I'm.
Yes.
You
So
really
negative.
With his rainbow shoes down the
Give
street.
you
X minus 3.
-3.
It's a long
Yeah.
joke.
Okay. 6, 0.
Okay.
Squared. Okay. Squared. 1 is -3. 5 -3. Okay.
Oh, that doesn't work.
It's gonna be great.
You're not just
Would
gonna
you?
no way.
I was gonna split it in half and
Okay.
give it
completely different.
factor it that way, but.
Did you get your PJs yet?
No. I don't know which ones to get. I haven't even looked at Target yet.
I was about to call you different teacher's name. Mrs. Peterson, can you help me for a second?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, I got this. You got this, Isabel. You're okay. Okay, so
I need to go to
I got
Target.
to here.
I need to go to
Have you done 3? I got to here. So x plus 2, x plus 1, x to the 3 minus 3x squared plus 5x minus 3. Is there any way I can do this other than this thing?
You can't factor it. It's got 4 terms, and it's if you tried to factor it, your middle terms wouldn't match. You would factor out an
I
x
did
squared, and
do
you would
this.
get x minus 3, and then you would only be able to
Same
factor
thing.
out of 1 from the second half,
Mhm.
and you would x minus 3 is not the same
It's
thing as
4.5
5x minus 3.
days.
Okay, so I need to just
Keep going.
keep going.
Yeah.
But okay, so you have an x cubed, right? So you
Like
know
It's easier to
you
target.
can either
because
have
you can feel
1
them.
more real root or 3 more real
I'm trying
roots.
to.
You can't
Takes
have
a
2
while.
because that would leave 1
Only
complex,
one
and you can't have only
Oh.
1 complex by itself.
Target's body.
So what? So what do I do to find the other one then? Okay.
So I have
I mean, either way, I guess I don't have
x
one.
plus
It's
2 and x minus 1.
I already thought put in 1.
good.
And so I could try -3.
I tried. I tried. I just forgot to text you before we started.
1.
Starts at 30 seconds. Yeah, I can't do it.
It was like 2 minutes after, actually.
Okay, so 1.
18.
Minus
13. Nope.
And
Just get an air horn and just blow it out my
is
house.
that?
With that.
I said.
Let's try it.
Okay, so x plus 2. X minus 1.
I'm so
Bird.
confused. What do you
X
do?
minus
I
1.
checked for a second.
And
Parents would be
then
like, what?
x plus something.
Parents are gonna kill me.
No one is gonna be a week.
I'm confused. What have you done here?
I don't really know.
Eh?
And then he get home.
Wait, no, that's
How
not
come you
right.
have 2 x minus 1s?
Because that's what it factored out to.
I'll pick it.
Which one?
Well,
What?
This one is. I think that one was negative.
Yeah,
No,
this
this one
one
was
too.
positive 1.
Yeah,
Well,
+1, -2, -3 doesn't do that because it's stupid and needs to go home.
Okay,
You
so
can sleep all day 'cause that says that.
Yes.
so I got it down to x plus 2, x minus 1,
I'll
x
have to do
minus 1,
school that day.
x squared minus 2x plus 3.
I'll have to do both days.
So
Can you factor that?
I don't think
Sleep all day.
like
Do your homework at night.
No, you can't.
no.
I'm so
No.
confused.
So use the quadratic formula.
And we'll jump over the bushes.
It's a quadratic.
There's so many.
This is a quadratic formula again.
I'll do
that.
that.
Okay.
I'm telling
You
you
finish
what
this one.
With this?
Yeah. Okay.
No, with this.
With this.
Yes. How do you use the quadratic formula for this?
Okay.
Okay, so
Is it the whole fraction thing? Yes, it is a big fraction.
oh,
One big annoying fraction.
I want to do this. Okay.
Okay.
I don't remember.
So it would be.
my knees hurt. Right. Oh, and then so.
Plus, or is it minus? Is it minus?
Guys, do you remember where the quadratic formula is in this book?
4
Because I don't.
3
um,
over what?
This is so hard. Here we go. Question.
2 minus. What is green? Soothing.
Green. Looks like forest green.
Mm-hmm. Wait, is it minus 4ac or plus? It's minus, right?
B squared minus 4ac.
Yeah. Okay. So,
My knees are
yeah. It's not very fun. Okay. So,
Thanks for doing that for me.
yeah. No problem.
I've already forgotten. Like twice. I can't find it.
So, for I?
Probably, yeah.
2 I rad 2.
Oh, okay. Two over 2. So then it would
Are
be
you guys following this?
Minus 2 I rad 2.
So out of it today.
See how you have the 2 out in front? That's still there.
Oh, okay. I get
One's
it.
still on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
And
then
then all your 2's can cancel out. Not the one under the radical. But
So then you get plus or minus.
No, 1.
1. Okay.
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 Sorry, my husband just texted me that he's going to be out in the Marine Corps on Friday, so I have to move by then. So, but back to class. Okay. So Samantha, how many roots did you find?
I found
You just got
1, 2, 3. Like
yeah, because you found
3.
2. With
Oh,
plus or
okay.
minus.
I found 3.
Okay. I already gave you points for 1 or for 2.
For 2, I think. Thank you.
Okay. Did I give you points for the ones you tried?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Does this make sense? I know you two probably get it because you were doing it.
Kind of.
More.
I know.
I want to watch
More
you. I want to watch you do one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, so she can like
I want to
talk
watch
me through
you
it.
do it. No, you do it.
Okay, I'm gonna do number 21. It's gonna be x to the 4th. Plus 5x cubed. Plus 5x squared. Minus 5x minus 6.
You're good?
There's only one.
So how many roots will there be? 4. Okay.
Yeah.
So just keeping in mind, it's possible that all of them are either imaginary or radicals, because that's even, and they have to come in pairs. So that means I can have 2 pairs of them. So I'm going to keep that in my mind, just in case my rational roots, I don't find any. Okay? So, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 3, and plus or minus 6. It's P over Q. Which is my rational roots theorem. Okay, so using synthetic division, I've got 1, 5, 5, negative 5, and negative 6. 1, 5, 5, negative 5, negative 6. Okay. First thing I'm going to try, because I can see that all of these numbers are not very big, I'm not going to want something like 6, because then, like, if I have 6 times 5, it's going to be 30. I don't see anything that's going to cancel out of 30. Does that make sense? So I'm not even going to bother trying a 6. These numbers are too small. So I'm going to try 1 first. And I don't know the answer yet. I'm finding this as we go. So drop my 1, 1, 6, 6, 11, 11, 6, negative 6, or positive 6.
Yeah.
0.
So
Awesome.
Yay.
1's a root.
Whoopee! And we
Okay.
need to find all.
Yes. So I know I have at least one more real root. At least. Because if this were the only real root, that would leave me with 3 either complex roots or radical roots, and they can't come in 3 because they have to come in pairs. They can only show up in even numbers. Okay? So, I know I've got at least one more. None of these numbers are huge. So, but they're all positive, and I needed to add up to 0. So I'm going to try a negative number. Does this make sense, my thinking? In order for something to add to 6 and get to 0, which means it's a root, it's got to be negative. Well, I'm not going to get anything negative out of here. They're all positive. So that's why I'm picking a negative root to test. So I'm going to pick, I don't know, negative 1. And I'm dividing it out of here because I want to be able to say x minus 1 times x cubed plus 6x squared plus 11x plus 6 equals my original function. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm what's called decomposing. In the same way as if I had like 24 and I'm trying to factor 24. I'm going to factor out a small number first, and then I'm not going to start again from 24 to keep factoring. I'm going to start from 12. Because I already know how much I'll have left of 24 if I've taken out a 2. Well, here, I already know how much I'll have left of this quartic if I take out x minus 1. So I'm going to start with what I have left. Does that make more sense? Okay. So, 1,
is a factor.
negative 1, 5, negative 5, 6, negative 6, 0. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So now I've got x minus 1 times x plus 1 times x squared, because this was a cubic, plus 5x plus 6.
And that factors to x plus 2x plus 3.
It doesn't. It does. Well done. Yes,
Yay!
it does. I was thinking 5 and 1, but I'm clearly got other things going on. Okay.
And then you
This and this
combine
factors.
them.
Because what multiplies to 6 but adds to 5? 2 and 3. So all of my roots are 1, negative 1, negative 2, and negative 3. Does this make sense?
Mhm.
Wait, 3 negative 3?
Because you have to.
Negative 2, negative 3.
Oh, negative 2, negative 3. Got it.
Okay, we can call it if you guys get it. Or
I
we
get
can do
it.
more if you want.
Well, I thought you said there had to be 2 positive, 2 negatives. Is that what you said?
No. I said there could be, I'm trying to think of what you heard is that. There could be all the complex roots, if there are any roots that have an I in it, or if there's any roots that have a radical in it, they have to come in a pair.
Yeah.
So I'm going to keep in mind that I have 4 solutions total. So if I found one real solution, I know I have to have at least one more real solution, which can be found. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, wait. So if one of these wasn't like a rational number and it was like an imaginary number,
Uh-huh.
so you find that just by plugging in the equation into the quadratic formula.
You can find it that way. There are other more advanced ways to find them, but you won't
Out of
be,
the ways that we've learned.
yeah, you probably won't be presented with any of those.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, cool.
Okay. Okay. No more questions? Okay, cool. You guys will go.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.